3 things I learned raising daughters. First time I found out we were having a little girl, I went to 2 people for advice. The first person was my wife, Tina, because she's a girl. Figured she might know some things. She did. Second person was a guy I knew in the military who was, well, putting it mildly, probably the biggest man whore I'd ever met in my life. So I went to him and said, "How do I protect my daughter from someone like you?" And being a good sport, he smiled and said, "Well, tell your daughter you love her, because if you don't, someone who doesn't will, and she'll believe him." So armed with this wisdom, I attempted to do 3 things with raising my daughters. One was make sure they always knew that Daddy loved them, that Daddy would tell them the truth, and that no matter what, they could tell Daddy the truth. And I find what this helped create was young women that had a high expectation for love, respect, and honesty. And that goes a long way from preventing the wrong sort of guy from getting a foothold. Also, I taught them how to shoot, just in case.
Hey guys, I'm Taryn LeRae and welcome to Taryn's Business Hub. Let's talk about intentional parenthood, why fathers matter. Now, I know just saying that might have hit a nerve with some people because when we talk about fatherhood, we're not just speaking facts, we're touching memories, emotions, and even sometimes wounds. But here's the truth, fathers matter, and they're not optional just because some people had to make it without one. We live in a time where resilience is worn like a badge of honor, and rightfully so. There are parents out there, especially mothers, who have had to raise kings and queens all by themselves. Take LeBron James, for instance. Now, he is one of the greatest basketball players of all times. And he had his mother, Gloria, to hold him down. She was his shield. She was his support. She was his anchor. She was his compass. She was his hero. But even LeBron has spoken out about the absence of his father. The absence of his father has shaped him. And he has even gone on to say that he would never abandon his children because he knows what abandonment feels like. And then you have Michael Jordan, who is the greatest basketball player of all time. And Michael Jordan had his father, James Jordan, beside him throughout his whole entire life until his dad was tragically taken from him. With Michael Jordan, you can't study his greatness without hearing his dad's name. It's almost just as synonymous with Tiger Woods' father. These were people that were quiet sinners in their sons' lives. For Michael Jordan, James Jordan was a quiet sinner for him. James Jordan was his grounding force. And when he died, a part of Michael died with him because that's how deep their bond was. So here's the question. If people can survive and thrive with one parent, then why do dads matter? Well, because survival isn't the same as fullness, and strength born out of struggle doesn't cancel out the value of divine design. I talk about we are co-creators of life. And this is not something that I came up with. This is just what is. Male and female energies are different. They're not interchangeable. And so we're wired differently for a reason. And it's not just biological. It's spiritual, emotional, and foundational. A child doesn't just need provision. They need presence. At my dad's memorial service, someone got up to speak about my dad, and they mentioned how he was a present father. And I can attest to that because in the 42 years that I had my dad on this planet with me, it wasn't one day that my dad didn't show up in my life. If I wasn't with my dad that day, I knew that I can call my dad and he will answer. There was a YouTube video with these 2 guys vying to see which dad will answer the first. I'm gonna show you, let me just play that clip real quick.
If I say right now, hey Siri, call dad, is it somebody in your phone gonna get called?
Okay, call your father, I call my father. Let's see who pick up first. Call your dad, I call my dad. Who dad picking up first?
Where my phone at, bro? Toss it, bro.
Niggas going dad for dad.
Who dad? We going dad for dad right now.
Dad for
We going
dad.
dad for dad. And what's your dad name on his phone? Is it no name? Cause he's not there? Mine say dad. Call your dad first.
Alright, say no more. So we call at the same time.
All
All
right,
right, same
3,
time.
2, 1, go. Speakers.
I gotta go back my dad this year. This shit ain't you up. Come on, Pop.
Hold up.
Oh shit.
Oh shit.
We ain't got dads?
What up?
Bro.
Hello? It's loud.
Even these two young men who had a present dad, it just showed the importance of someone showing up in their life. And that's how my dad was for me. Again, he was just a phone call away from me, the same way these two guys' dads were. And if I ever needed him to show up for a flat tire, to help pay my tuition, to meet me for a conversation, a cup of tea, to go watch a movie with, to go to the museum, my dad, he was present for every role that I needed. Children don't just need protection, they need identity. And when a father is aligned in their respective role, then they provide direction and confirmation in their child's life. My dad helped shape my identity. He was there to see things in me that I didn't even see in myself first. He was there to affirm the greatness that was inside of me. And when I had people around me that were intimidated by certain things that I had, they were intimidated with the potential that they saw in me, and they would try to shrink me. My dad, no, you rise to who you are, and you don't shrink for other people. You let people rise to meet you, and if they can't rise to meet you, they're not supposed to be around you. And so having someone to affirm my identity and confirm those gifts, my dad was aligned with the purpose of his life as a father. And that father is also able to tell a child who they are by how they live their life. And look, I understand that some people weren't given the opportunity to have a present dad, and some people had to be a father to themselves. Or like in LeBron's case, you had to become what you didn't receive. And while that's noble, it was never meant to become the standard. Because even when you rise without a father, there's still healing that needs to happen. I meet people all the time that have told me I didn't know where my dad was, or my dad never called to check in on me and I turned out fine. But you can still hear in the energy of the tone that there's ripeness there, there's bitterness there, there's some healing that needs to take place. Fatherhood brings order, it brings vision, it brings accountability, and you get to witness masculinity that's not destructive, or you're supposed to. Fatherhood isn't about the role of someone just stepping in and filling that position, but it's about the presence of fatherhood that shapes the internal world of a child.
Man, where do I start? I love you with everything in me. You're my dad, my father, my OG, my mentor. Man, you everything to me but my guy and my mother. I thank God that you met my mom and did not give up on her or me. It takes a different kind of man to accept the responsibility that you did. You came into my life when I was wanting some change. If it was not for you, I promise you, I'd either be in jail or dead. You saved my mother and I. You blessed me with a happy life and 4 of the best siblings I can have. Since day one, you never left my side. Even when I got out of mine, you never gave up on me. This next part, I just want to say a few words.
Crazy.
It's a lot of this all I could type, but it's a lot of stuff that I just can't put into words. There's times when I felt like I just didn't have nobody in there. It's like he was always there. Even my mama couldn't make you, was always there, real man. Stuff you didn't even have to be there for, stuff I didn't even think nobody would come to. Times where I just needed somebody to talk to, you was there. Not to throw no shots or nothing like that, but you all I got. It's like you my father at the end of the day, so. Alright, so I'm ready to say this, and I want you to adopt me as your own. I have, along with everyone else, seen you as my father and the #1 male role model in my life. Now you adopted me, you will also become my legal father in the eyes of the law. You have earned all credibility for the man that I have become.
Oh, man. Oh.
Now, some people are called to parent in singlehood, and that's real and that's sacred, and that does not need to be diminished. But the thing is, the divine pattern was never meant to elevate the absence of fathers. It was actually meant to show just how powerful the presence of a father is in a child's life. So no, dads are not replaceable, and yes, you can make it without one. And so the question isn't just, can you survive? The deeper question is, what could have been built if that person had stepped into their divine role as a father? Now let's talk about something that's just as important: the words that we use as parents. I've had people tell me things that just broke my heart. The way that men have spoken to their daughters, or the way men perceive their own sons as useless and not being able to be impactful in society. There have been men that have talked down on their daughters. I've heard men just have the sharpest tones with their daughter, and not in a constructive way, in a dogmatic way. Talking to their daughters like they are at a bar, talking to another man, and the harshness, the masculinity in that voice, the roughness, the energy that's coming out. A father's words are more impactful than people realize. They're either planting seeds of empowerment or degradation. The words that you speak, they are assignments. If you're calling your son useless, you're assigning uselessness to his future. If you're calling your daughter the B word, or calling your daughter a whore, or talking to her as though she has no real value in life, you are assigning insecurity to her. You are assigning low self-esteem to her emotional reserve. And for those of you raising children now, whether you're a father, whether you're a mother, whether you're a mentor, you're a grandmother, let me say this: it's not about perfection. It's about being intentional and showing up. It's about raising with alignment and speaking into your children's future. Whether your present is physical or whether your present is spiritual, you are creating an echo inside of that child's life that is resonating into a legacy. And that legacy will echo for generations to come. You know, when I think to my dad wasn't perfect, but he was the perfect father to me. And throughout my life, I would even tell my dad, there's people that are missing out. And he would say, yes, that's true, because they were missing out on the greatness that a dad could give to their child. And when people would see me and my dad together, they will respond in one of two ways. Either they would say, I wish I had that with my child. So they would look at me and my dad, and if they were a parent, they would say, hey, I want to be like that with my daughter or with my son. Or they will reflect on their own relationship with their own parent. Oh, you and your dad, that's how me and my mom are, or that's how I was with my dad. And here's the thing, me and my dad's relationship is a model that people should strive for in parenthood. It should be the model of parenthood, the roles of a dad in the relationship of a child. I take great pride in the bond that I had with my dad. And, you know, ironically, my grandfather passed when I was about 8 years old, so I didn't get to know him well. I remember him slightly, but throughout my life and conversations with my dad, I would hear my dad speak so highly of his dad. And he would say things like, man, I admired my dad. My dad was a genius, and he would go on to feel good in the accomplishments of his dad and feel good about things that his dad taught him. And now that my dad is not around, I feel the same way. And I just hold him in such high regard and high esteem because of what he did in my life. A father's presence, whether it's through mentorship or a biological connection, it should be one of upliftment and unconditional love and consistent love. You have a lot of parents that are inconsistent. They're hot and cold, but that role should be consistent, one filled with encouragement, not put downs and criticisms, and also the belief in the capabilities of greatness within inside of that child. If you are a father, if that child knows that you believe in them, It'll give them a certain drive that other external validation would never do for them. If you believing in your child, it will give them an external validation that they don't necessarily need from other people. And so today, I honor the fathers who are present. I speak life to the ones that are healing and choosing to show up. And I send grace to the ones that had to rise in their absence. But let's never confuse absence with irrelevance. Fathers still matter, and they always will. I hope this video inspired you in some way or another. I definitely would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know how the role of your father, whether he was present or absent, how that shaped you. Or if you're a parent, what are you intentionally doing to create an impact in your children's future? Leave a comment in the comment section. You'll be surprised how you sharing your story, you sharing your insight, how that benefits and encouraging someone else on their journey. If this video resonated with you and you know someone that can also benefit from it, I would definitely encourage you to share it. Subscribe to our Blueprint Brief newsletter. It comes out weekly and is packed with all kinds of tips, insights, videos, and everything that's going on with the hub. That's at www.terrencebusinesshub.com. I'll also drop a link in the description for you. So as always, thanks for watching. And in the meantime, in between time, you'll see me in the next video.
This little girl's dad has been working away from home for 3 months, but he's about to surprise her by knocking at the door, and the reaction she has changes dad forever. And after this moment, dad decided to change careers because he never wanted to leave his baby girl ever again.